Sorry, the Hangonar just crashed, and I'm hoping that we can resume where we left off, but I'm just going to resume where we left off. So Julia is talking to Adam, and Adam is being played by Herb McCollum Jr. So Julia says, there have been a few times when I felt okay about how I looked, but I always had issues coming from a poor family. I couldn't get sharp clothes like the other girls. I had acne as a teen. I couldn't go to bars to meet guys like the other girls did, and it led to my chronic low self-esteem. Every girl from high school is married now, straight and gay, everyone but me.
Women worry too much.
Maybe he's too tired when we have shared our time together. We live together, but our shift schedule keeps us like we live 8 time zones apart.
Ever consider a different job?
Don't you think I haven't thought about it? I'm a good tailor. I took a lot of instruction in it after high school. I always had it at the back of my mind to own my own shop. I don't have the money to do that yet.
Maybe you and your boyfriend could work something out.
Actually, I worry that I'm holding him back from his own dreams. I've tried to talk him into breaking up with me at least 5 times, and he keeps saying, "Are you crazy?" And I'm like, I guess.
Good for him.
He's amazing. He's so creative. He's super weird, but he has a solid core of good values.
Good. Ever ask your parents for help?
I was poor because they were poor. Anyway, there were always a lot of screaming and hostility at home. I moved out and never looked back. I could never ask my parents for a thing. I loved them, but they were very difficult for a child to love. Right after high school, I went to work in a hotel in Reno for 5 years to pay the bills. We got a lot of conventions, and the kitchen always needed help. I had to be there at 5:30 every morning, and I had a 45-minute commute. I was getting burnt out, so I also was enrolled in a community college to become LPN certified.
Are you going on to become a registered nurse?
No, I love the folks I take care of as an LPN. Any little mothering I can do, I'm happy to do. It may be my only chance.
You want to be a mom, don't you?
Yeah, you found me out. You have children? Are you a grandfather?
2 sons. My grandkids are mostly in their teens. They don't have much time for anyone old.
I love children. They bring out the best of me. I don't need a sign telling me to drive slowly in a school zone. I slow down so I can see the kids.
Guess you don't have any brothers or sisters.
I have a sister who is 7 years older than me. It was like we were from different planets.
You have a boyfriend. That can be handy if you desire children.
I'm trying to deal with some news. I went to a gynecologist and learned I have some fibroids. I was told I must have surgery. I don't have insurance. She said I could try to have children 1 year after surgery. Another year. I've shed thousands of tears thinking that I won't be able to have kids.
You're going to go ahead with that, aren't you? The surgery?
I must. I really want children. It's all I think about these days. And I'm in my mid-30s. My clock's running out.
Some women have kids up to 40-something now.
Yes, but complications for the child increase with each year added to the mother's delivery.
You got insurance?
Not yet. I found a company haven't found a company yet that accepts a pre-existing condition.
You should look for a health insurance broker.
That's what Don told me, my boyfriend, but I'm scared.
Of what?
The surgery scares me. The money scares me.
Doesn't your employer offer a health package? You work for a hospital.
Not for part-time employees. I work a 30-hour a week and then another 20 at a nursing home.
I see.
When I learned how much my surgery could cost, I almost had a heart attack.
Then get the insurance.
So far, all the insurance plans I've checked out say I have a pre-existing condition and they won't pay for that. I can't afford surgery without insurance. Without surgery, I'll have no children. If I tell the truth, I can't be insured.
There must be a way for you yet. Please call my friend Spencer Jack, an insurance broker. Tell him what you told me. His office is on Alba.
A car horn toots a rhythmic pattern. That's Liz, my neighbor. I got to go. We food shop together. Julia grabs her coat off the back of the bar seat, slaps money on the bar, and hurries to the upstage door, calling over her shoulder. Thanks for listening. I'm Julia.
Good luck, Julia. I'm Adam.
Zach comes back. Saw you chatting with Julia. She's quite a talker.
Yes, but she didn't annoy me. Nice girl. Beautiful eyes.
Would you?
Just saw the tab, please. I saw that you know her.
Yeah, she's here 2 or 3 times every week about this time of day.
I never noticed her before.
Blackout. Wednesday. So was that Tuesday or Monday?
That was Tuesday. Mhm.
So wise. Evening. Katie tends the bar. Adam is seated, finishing his dinner. Katie walks up to pick up a bar stool near where Adam is seated. Katie, did you hear that Isaac Harvey passed on?
Who?
Isaac Harvey, one of the regulars here, retired attorney, wonderful man, wavy white hair, trimmed beard. He knew you.
What? Knew me?
Yeah, he said he felt sorry for you about Betty and all.
Isaac Harvey.
Yeah, he sat right next to you several times.
What happened?
He had Hodgkin's lymphoma, was doing okay with treatments, but cut his foot in a creek on something when fishing, and then he got an infection that spread too fast.
And he knew me, you said?
Well, he spoke about you and he knew Betty.
I don't remember him.
Well, maybe he asked someone at the bar at the other. Tyrone enters from the upstage entrance. He sees Adam, drops his shoulder with a sigh, and walks to Adam, spotlight on Tyrone. Tyrone, is it okay if I sit here?
Yes. Sit down, please.
If talking to me is a problem, I'll be quiet.
I'm sorry. It's okay. I've become a semi-reclusive lately.
I'm Tyrone.
Adam.
How long has this place been here?
About 2 years.
The town seems a lot different now. Katie returns to take Tyrone's order. Hi, hon, are you here for dinner or just something to drink? Tyrone, I see you have Belgian Saison. Katie, 1 number 9 coming up. Adam.
This town has changed. More things here for young folk now.
I was born here. I went away to school for years. This is my first time back.
In 7 years?
Didn't want to.
Ouch.
It was a hassle at home. I can't remember when it wasn't bad until my mother's separation before the divorce. As far back as I can remember, they were combative. They didn't get along. I was aware of the dysfunction during my elementary school years. From that point through high school, we moved a lot the whole time they were separated, getting divorced and shared custody. He shakes his head sadly. Custody, that was a whole thing of its own. I wanted to go to college. My father couldn't figure out why. He never gave me any encouragement. He was an asshole.
Your dad paid your tuition. I'd call that encouragement.
Not a dime. He'd disappear for a few weeks, then stumble home and disrupt our lives for a few more weeks, then disappear again.
Your mom help out?
She tried. She really did. She made a lot of bad choices in her life, and my dad was one of them.
Who paid for college?
I got some athletic scholarships.
Oh.
I was in track. I was on relay teams. Not one in my neighborhood nor in my home encouraged me, just my track coach and a few teachers.
I never knew track could pay for college.
It didn't, but it helped, and not right away, as I was a walk-on. Katie, here you are, darling. If you need anything else, just let me know. No, thank you. This is great. You okay, Adam?
I'm good.
Tyrone. I tried sprints, but there was this Asian kid who beat me every time. I was no good on hurdles either, but in time I showed I could be a consistent anchor on the relay squad and then get some scholarships.
You did track in high school.
Yes, my high school coach was the one who pushed me to college.
So he taught the technique for relays.
I learned a lot more than technique in high school and college. I learned there were other ways to live a life than the way I was brought up. Let me just try something. When I was on team, we got to know one another. We learned to work together, to trust one another, to become a family. When you get to really understand each other, to learn what's going on in each other's lives, you have some empathy with one another. We have each other's back.
Mom or Dad ever see you run?
That didn't happen. It would have been nice.
Huh.
I had a choice to make about my dad, and I decided he was expendable. When I became a man, I told him I wasn't going to see him again. He just laughed.
What was your major?
Psychology.
Are you going to be a therapist?
I'm not sure yet. That takes at least another year, and I already owe college loans.
A lot?
I have over a $30,000 student loan debt. I learned how to apply for grants and loans. I took some advanced placement classes in high school and did okay. That's what gave me the idea about going back to college. I stuck to it. I need to be a somebody.
So what else can you do?
I write a bit, had some stuff published.
What did you write?
I did editorials for the school paper, wrote a few short stories, some poetry.
Tough way to make a living. Have you thought of teaching writing?
Not seriously, I guess it could be a fallback career.
You don't sound very excited at that prospect.
I've studied hard to get this far, and I want to go farther.
Do what?
I don't know yet. I like learning. Ideally, I'd like to help more African American families become middle class.
How?
I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
It would seem you're not alone.
I keep thinking I should write about the problems we face in becoming middle class, something like that. Maybe it could help.
You're not going to tell me black people don't have a chance, are you?
Not entirely, but a part of me, yes.
But we have a black president, a black attorney general. Most major city mayors are black.
Paying for those offices, and they're rich. They're not middle class. An African American family living in inner city cannot realistically dream of becoming like them.
Why not?
Neighborhood culture.
What's that mean?
I'll give you an example. Do you live in town?
No, I'm in the suburbs.
You have a nice lawn?
Yeah, what's my lawn got to do with it?
Is your lawn full of dandelions, crab, grass, weeds?
Of course not. I spray or pull them out when they appear.
Why do you do that? All that time, energy, and money.
I'll introduce you to Sarah. She lives 2 doors away from me, and she'll give you a 30-minute lecture if a dandelion lives long enough to go to seed on your lawn.
Well, that's a part of your neighborhood culture. You have an unwritten law that says that no one in the block should allow a dandelion to thrive. Now look at where I came from. Herman has lost his only son in golf. He was stoned when arrested the last time and resisted arrest, so was roughed up by a white cop. He lost jobs 3 times, and his wife left after his second incarceration. So Herman isn't thrilled about improving his house, seeking a better job, or going for higher education. Where I came from, that's called acting white. Now you say Sarah will give you a 30-minute lecture if you let a dandelion grow. Well, Herman gets liquored up rather often, and he has a revolver and an AK-47. You want to tell him he has to clean up his yard? That's the neighborhood culture where I came from.
Really? I didn't realize.
Yeah, I can't get my head around why it stays that way, but that's the way it is in some parts of the city.
Have you ever considered that you could be a good example to the black community?
Not me, because someone would look at me and say, all your schooling and you owe what I could earn in a couple months selling drugs.
So you're telling me some whites won't accept you because you're black, and some blacks won't accept you because you're acting white, sucking up like Uncle Tom.
I immediately felt I'd crossed a line. Oh, you say that.
Yep. Tyrone Stippens. I immediately felt I crossed a line that was taboo. I realized my question hit a sore point with him. I wanted to apologize, but felt any further mentioning would only exacerbate the situation. I elected to remain silent.
Tyrone's light comes back on. His shoulders sag as he sighs. No one can please everyone, do you?
No, of course not. What I was driving at is that former African-American leaders that were looked up to urged blacks to solve their own problems. Leaders like Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King.
You do realize the men you just mentioned were all assassinated.
Of course, I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry. You have a degree. I keep wondering why half of the black males in cities never finish high school. Don't they realize they're limiting what they may achieve in life?
You'd have to live that life to understand why. The guys who quit tell the guys in school there are no jobs out there, that the kid in school should quit because he's just wasting his time. He should be out of school hustling or dealing and making some money or just work the system.
How do you break that pattern?
Apparently, nobody knows how, because every year it's the same. We need a black middle class that ghetto kids see as an example of a better life that then can actually be obtained.
But There are middle-class black families. Look how many more African-American college graduates there are, like you.
Not enough. How many middle-class white families did you know when you were in high school?
That's all I knew. Every family I knew was middle class.
You need a critical mass so it's evident to a kid in a ghetto that it's a realistic goal worth fighting for.
Good point, Tyrone.
Well, call me Ty. My most fervent wish is that we could all start to truly communicate with each other.
I haven't been good at communicating for several years.
I've met a lot of amazing people, and most are much older than I, but they do know how to listen. Black or white, most young don't know how to listen. Sometimes I'm in a conversation with someone my age, and I suddenly realize not one word has been said that helps us understand each other. It's very sad. I don't know how people can go through life and not learn from their lessons. They keep repeating the same mistakes. Katie, can I get anything for either of you gentlemen? Nothing for me, thank you.
I'm good.
And she slides the tab to the men.
Here, let me take care of that. I most thoroughly enjoyed our chat.
No, thank you, Adam. Perhaps next time. I have trouble accepting unearned gifts.
Keep in touch, Ty, and good luck.
I may need it. The world may not be ready for it, but the change has got to come. Tyrone places some cash in the bar, turns and exits the arch to the bottle shop. Adam calls to Katie.
Katie, I've changed my mind. Let me have a vodka kicker. I need to rethink my past months. I've probably lost 2 years of my life.
I'm not following you.
You know me. Come in, eat, drink, pay, leave. Julie broke the ice. Then Ty challenged me on an issue. Nice guy. Interesting. I wish him well. I learned quite a bit from him.
Is he a teacher?
You could say that. You could definitely say that.
Blackout. Now I think we come to Thursday. Act 1, Scene 3. The bar is dimly light in night mode. Zach is tending bar. Adam enters from the upper stage left door. He scans the bar and sees an empty seat beside Heather, early 30s. Adam walks to the seat. Zach waves to Adam.
Pardon me, miss. Is this seat taken?
It is now, by you.
Thank you.
Zach. Glad to see you, Adam. Know what you want?
Yeah, I'd like to try the Pilsner Urquell, number 21. Let me think about the entree.
It's on its way, and here's tonight's menu. Heather. Zach acted like your arrival was a big deal. Are you famous?
I'm just one of the regular guys here.
A regular guy. That sounds comforting. What do you do, regular guy?
I'm retired. Oh, I do a little writing now and then. I'm Adam.
I'm Heather. Good to meet you, Adam.
Likewise.
So what do you write about? And Zach returns with Adam's drink, places it, napkin, and tableware.
I'd like a lamb, please. Glad to see it's back. Heather, I used to write about people.
What sort of people?
How we're all different, but in many ways all the same.
How do you mean?
I had conversations with 2 people recently. Each has endured pain or misfortune, has a secret, or is ashamed of something. Yet in spite of that, each hopes for a better life. The dream is still alive.
Bingo! You've just described my life.
Just the other day, I met a woman who believes she's unattractive. She's lovely. She wants to be a mom and knows that may be iffy. She fears her biological clock is running out. She's scared and heartsick.
Too bad.
Yet she's hanging on to the hope that she'll be a mom with her own kids. Do you have a similar story?
Nothing like that.
Don't mean to probe.
I enjoy a little conversation with dinner. I didn't mean to bump off your switch.
I'm just relearning how to make conversation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you recovering from a stroke?
No, I lost my wife a while back. I guess it was depression. Hardly spoke to anyone. A couple of years.
Oh, well, welcome back.
Never was much of a talker. I spent most of my life listening. You can learn a lot if your ears are open and your mouth is shut.
I guess you could.
Yeah, it helped me understand what people aren't saying.
Aren't saying? You just lost me.
Being quiet gives me time to watch and listen better. I get hints if the speaker isn't telling the whole story. Pauses, nervous tics, body language.
Oh, I get it.
Learned that from my uncle. He was a country parson.
Are you very religious?
By very, are you asking if I'm judgmental of others?
Exactly.
I think I belong to the Church of Love One Another. It makes for a less stressful life.
I've been in and out of college 3 times. Finally decided to stick it out when I was 24.
Did you have trouble selecting a major?
I'm really into computing. I thought I wanted to be a programmer. Paul, my current boyfriend, is one. We like to work together. He said he needed a city in his life, and I had already done Boston and wanted out of the city. But we ended up in Queens, worked together in Midtown Manhattan.
That's a big city.
It is, but Paul had worked here in town about 6 years before he and that company lost their programmer. They phoned him and begged him to come back.
And you came with him.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
This is a hypothetical, okay? What would you have done as a young man if you fell in love with a girl, had sex with her, and found out she was pregnant?
For my generation, that was a proposal of immediate marriage.
You don't look that old.
I am.
Well, what would you do?
What would I do? Panic, then get married.
Why would you do that?
Get married? That's what was done then. Either that or skip town and play the cad and never be seen again. It's what we were programmed to do. It was a fixed part of our life script.
And what of the pregnant woman if the guy skipped town?
I'm aware the world is different now. It always is with each generation.
What if this girl didn't want to get married? Even if the guy stayed?
Today, I'm well aware that unwed maternity is considered the norm.
Well, what if the mother felt she couldn't raise the baby?
I'm getting the feeling this isn't entirely hypothetical.
I was pregnant when I was 21. I knew I couldn't properly take care of a baby then, and I had an abortion. 14 years ago, and I've hardly talked to anyone about it.
You've been under stress for a long time.
You're like maybe only the fourth person who has ever known this. I guess the more I talk about it, the easier it is to own up to it. That's the reality.
Heather, I can't imagine the pressure you must be under.
Heather pulls out a tissue from her bag, looks at it, and puts it back in the bag. Some people today call me a murderer, but if I had a baby then, I would not have been a fit mother. It would not have been fair to the child.
What were the father's wishes about his child?
He disappeared faster than a magician.
Some guys have a lot of growing up to do.
I know. I knew how single mothers struggle, not being able to provide for their kid the way they want to. I saw that as far as my life for the next 18 years or more. No husband, no decent job, tons of debt, financial worries, health worries, and less likely to find another man. A child raised poor without the full-time availability of a loving parent. It sucked.
For what it's worth, I feel you made a wise and caring decision.
I wish the world did. I wish...
It doesn't sound like your decision was hasty.
Well, no, it wasn't. I was clearly aware of what some people would think of me, but the people who are against abortion don't seem to care that they're condemning a child to a significantly diminished childhood. A child born in that situation has a severely limited life experience.
What about the grandparents? Couldn't they help? Aren't there agencies that deal with this?
Agencies were overworked and underfunded as single parenthood is the norm today. I wouldn't want a child of mine there. My parents made it clear to me when my periods began that if I were to get pregnant, I was on my own.
Whew. That seems harsh.
They were the hippie generation, the most narcissistic, self-centered generation ever.
I recall those years. Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
That's how the media labeled it. But to be a kid then raised with indifferent parenting, it was like, here's the world, kid. You damn well better learn to cope because you're on your own.
Did you use a morning after pill?
I'm not sure they had them then. Anyway, it was too late. I was hospitalized and had the procedure.
And no one with you.
That's it. I was alone and saw the next 2 decades of my life alone with over a $200,000 debt, the estimated cost of raising a baby to 18 years. That along with low-wage jobs, low standard housing, poor health, and no end in sight.
It looked like you thought out the consequences of having your child alone.
Sometimes when I hear the anger and outrage of so-called Christians against abortion, I believe they just want to punish women for having sex outside of marriage. It's weird because it seems it's mostly men who feel that way and women don't get pregnant alone.
You feel it's mostly men against abortion?
Yes, they're the ones trying to pass the laws against it. They all shout about how God will judge us. Fine, then let him. Why do they feel they have to act as God's jury?
Good question.
Are the Christians who are so against it afraid we will be forgiven? Whatever are they thinking when they read God's laws to love one another?
Had your child been born, would he or she have been unwanted?
Yes, of course.
I think unwanted kids must realize that and then have their own problems adjusting.
I know, I do want to be a mom someday. My goal is to be a full-time mom until our kids are in school and then run a Pilates studio on the side when they are in class. I've got my certification. I did that job before.
I'm sure you thought of adoption.
Yes, but I realized if I gave away a child who is part of me, I'd be sick with worry, wondering if the adoptive parents were treating my baby as well as I would want them to.
You had fears along those lines.
Of course, hardly a week goes by that I don't read of some sort of child being abused somewhere.
It does seem to be in the news a lot.
It's strange. I made that decision years ago. I felt it was the right thing to do, and then I still do now. But I haven't thought about it for years, and now it's on my mind nearly every day.
My guess is that you and your boyfriend are about ready to get married and having a family.
Are you some kind of mind reader?
No, just a grandfather.
Zach brings Adam his dinner. Here you go, Adam. May I bring you anything else?
I'm good, Zach. Thank you.
Zach returns to the far end of the bar.
I'm left with the impression there is something unsaid here.
My body language?
It strikes me as curious why an event 14 years ago is so strongly on your mind now.
I have a boyfriend. We've been together for 2 years. He's stable, has a good job, he's a lot of fun. And he asked me to marry him.
And you replied?
Of course I said yes, but I cautioned him that there are a lot of issues we have to go over first.
Like 14 years ago, that issue. Doesn't he already know?
He's Catholic. I haven't told him.
But that may not matter to him. Maybe...
It's his parents. They belong to the American League, Life League, and his uncle is their priest.
What's the American Life League? I'm not familiar.
Just the largest Catholic anti-abortion group in the nation. They will see me as a murderer. Maybe he will too.
Do you know what your options are?
Sure, tell them and lose Paul, or tell no one ever and pray they'll never find out.
Whenever I hear people frantic about a decision they have to make, I always ask if the decision has to be made immediately. Does it?
Does it what?
Must you decide today what you will do or not do about telling Paul and his family?
No, but it's really bothering me.
I can see that. And you feel that to delay the decision is meaningless, as you only have two equally poor options.
Yes, either choice is loaded with danger.
Then why rush to disaster? Perhaps in a few days or so, another option will become known.
I can't imagine such a thing happening.
Did you imagine that this evening you would tell a total stranger in a bar an intimate story of your past? Life is a moving river. We have no idea what we will encounter each day. We think we know where the river flows, but storms and accidents may toss things into that river that surprise us. I hope you spend a few more days thinking about other options.
Well, I'll try, but I won't guarantee it.
I wish you peace of mind and a happy future with Paul and as many children as you desire.
Thanks, Adam. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sort of stunned that I opened up so much.
I guess you've been wanting to tell someone for quite a while. You probably looked at me and felt you could deck me if I gave you any grief.
No, you just seem easy to talk to.
Thank you, Heather. It's been quite a while since anyone ever said that to me.
Well, I've got to go now to meet Paul. Heather eases off the bar stool, leaves a tip on the bar, and exits through the upper stage left. Zach returns to Adam. Zach, what was that all about? She came in here about 10 minutes before you, ordered a beer, and zoned out. I tried talking to her, and it was like she couldn't hear.
She has a lot on her mind. When you get a moment, I'd like another round.
Zach leaves to fill Adam's order. The upstage door opens, and Shelby, 20, enters. She heads for the empty seat beside Adam. Shelby, hey, Adam, mind if I join you?
I know you. You work here. I can't remember your name.
Shelby, I'm off today, but can I join you?
I can't refuse a pretty girl.
Hey, Zach, I'd like a Chardonnay.
Enjoying your day off?
Well, I'm off here, but I was on campus all day. Classes are good. Getting scary about the cost, though.
I didn't know you were in college. I suspect your parents will figure out how to handle the cost.
You don't know why I work here, do you?
Well, I'm guessing money is a bit tight and you're doing your bit to help out.
This job more than helps out. This is it. This job is what will put me through college.
Are you saying you work here for tuition?
Yes, my dad can afford it, and he chooses not to help.
I didn't mean to stir up a family issue.
Zach delivers the wine to Shelby and leaves for the far side of the bar. Shelby, you didn't stir it up. It was just stirred up years ago. I had saved the money for college on my own, years and years ago.
You saved up tuition money?
Yes, I wanted to enter right after high school. All my high school friends who entered are 2 years ahead of me now. I had the money.
Had. Past tense.
My dad had access to my money.
This is beginning to sound like a very sad story.
He can afford to put me through. Dad owns a Porsche. He and my stepmother have a winter home in Arizona.
That should be my cue to get up, apologize for bringing this up, and move to another seat.
Oh, no. No. I need to get this off my chest. I finished my first semester on my own.
Good for you. Surely that softened your father's thoughts.
My mom and dad had split up. There was a custody battle while it was going on. I lived with my mom.
Was she able to help?
Since the divorce, she's struggling to get by. I live with my mom and stepmom now.
I'm sure your dad has a reason why he isn't helping.
He thinks he has helped. He bought me a car.
Well, there you are.
Well, he used the money I saved for college to buy it.
You can't be serious.
He doesn't understand why a woman would want to go to college. He sees no reason for it. He doesn't have a clue.
That's an idea I thought died in the 1960s.
Tuition is $363 a credit. A full-time student can schedule 15 credits a semester. That's $5,430 each semester. And it takes 8 semesters to graduate. Do the math.
That's over $40,000.
$43,560, and that's just tuition. It doesn't include dormitory, meals, or extracurricular activities for which there is an additional charge. So I live at home and commute.
Well, at least you get fed and a place to sleep and study.
For which I pay $150 a month.
You pay rent to your dad?
He also said I had to pay for the title change and the inspection for a car I didn't want. That was like $300.
But now you can commute to college.
But the college money is gone. It's spent on the car. Then I had an accident with that car. I had to get rides to campus while I was still living with Mom.
Is it possible your dad is trying to teach you the value of a dollar? That he wants you to know how hard it is to put money aside for anything?
Are you kidding?
No, really. When you graduate, you'll be years ahead of your high school friends in maturity. That will pay dividends to you in your job search.
You must be one of those optimists who always looks for a silver lining. Let me ask you, do you have kids?
2 sons?
Did both go to college?
Yes.
Did you make them pay their own way?
No.
I've seen your 7-year-old car. Do you have a hot car hidden somewhere in a winter home?
No, but...
No buts, Adam. I know I could move in with some girlfriends now and share rent, but I don't think I'd fit in well with a lot of roommates. I do like my own bathroom. I don't think I like community bathrooms.
Okay, I get your point. Yes, it was a financial struggle to get the kids through, and it may be easier for your dad to get you through, but look at it this way. When you get your cap and gown, your degree will be paid for it. Many of your friends will be paying off college loans for years, if not decades.
That's true.
Here's another thing. You're exposed to the real world while your friends attending college are still wrapped in a protective cocoon. You've worked here long enough to spot someone handing you a bull a lot better than your friends who live on campus. You have no trouble speaking to me, and most college kids don't have a clue what to say to someone my age.
Well, yeah.
You speak with confidence. You have served and spoken to everyone from high school dropouts to medical specialists while working here, and your speech is not laden with jargon. I'll bet no one impresses you to the point that you're afraid to talk to them.
I have a friend who's ahead of me now in school who is like that. She saw me in a panic one day and asked what she should do as the check oil light came on in the car. She hadn't a clue what to do. She didn't even know how to pop the hood. So I showed her and told her where to buy some oil and what kind to get and how to pour it and where to pour it.
Did that take care of it?
No, she begged me to go to the store with her. She didn't know what to say to the clerk.
The things you're learning off campus are worth a master's degree in life to add to the bachelor's degree you're earning on campus.
I hadn't thought about it that way.
I'm proud of what you're doing, and you should be proud for yourself.
I'm okay. I felt good finishing up my first semester. I aced my math final. I passed everything. I'm ready for my next semester. I can also transfer a few credits from the community college. Tuition costs less there.
What are your plans after college?
I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I feel lost, but I know I'm headed in the right direction because college lets you be aware of all the choices out there.
Good for you.
Shelby drains the last of her wine, places some paper currency in the bar, and rises. To Zach. Thanks, Zach.
Good luck, Shelby.
Shelby waves to Adam, turns and exits the upstage door.
What's that old saying about adversity? That which doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Well, she's strong now. No one works harder, says Zach. We're all cheering for her.
Please add my name to that list.
Blackout. Intermission. Yay! The audience claps.
Audience clap. Yeah.
So these kids are all in a quandary these days. And as we were saying before we started, it seems that they kind of lack imagination about what they can do with their lives. And I guess this is just an example. It seems like everybody is talking to you at that bar.
Yes.
Because you are a trusted individual and they feel that.
It's been kind of fortunate that way. Much of my life, I've just, something about my appearance creates enough confidence that total strangers will come up to me and start pouring out the most fascinating, interesting parts of their life. And I don't know why. I don't actively solicit it, but it happens.
Oh, so this isn't just something that happens at Hunger and Thirst.
Not just at Hunger and Thirst, no. But the play is about that particular bar because that was the scene where all of these things have happened and more. And some of the characters that are written in there are a combination of several different personalities so that nobody on the outside will be able to walk into the bar someday, point and say, I know you, you're Heather, or you're
Oh, that's
Tyrone.
a good idea. Well, have you taught, do they know you're writing a play or?
They all do, yes. I was up front with them all on that. And as an author, I have them all signed releases.
You did?
Yes.
Well, are they going to be interested in watching this, I wonder?
They may. Yep. I will tell them about it and how they can access it.
Well, we'll pass the link around. Yeah, you know, the lack of imagination that people have about their lives, it isn't just with young people. Well, and then as we get older, and as we were saying before the webinar, Hangonar began, older people are saying really weird things about fearing that they're going to outlive their money. Well, money is not anything that you have to be afraid of. I think, you know, you just use your imagination and figure out a way to get some more. You know, that's the way I see it. And I mean, I've never been tremendously wealthy either, but I'm not afraid of money. I mean, I think that it will come whenever it needs to come. You have to have faith in that. The money is not something out there anyway. It's something inside of us that it's energy and it's what we place on it. The belief systems we place on it, like money is the root of all evil, or money doesn't grow on trees, and this kind of hypnotic fear that we place on money is what it seems to be rolling through everybody's belief systems in the play too.
You're exactly right. When I retired from my years of practice in audiology, I wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to do that. But when I was younger, I was scared of the money aspect because starving artist is a common phrase in our vocabulary. And I thought, no, I want to have a job where I will be able to put some money aside so that I can enjoy this in later years.
Right.
That's what I'm doing.
Right, right. I mean, saving money like that dear soul did for her college education is a good idea. And unfortunately, growing up with parents who don't understand you is too common a story with no matter what generation you're in.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. The lack of good communication between parents and kids is all too evident today, which is why we need so many psychological counselors.
It is.
Yes.
I was just thinking, since we're talking about hunger and thirst, tell us a little bit about that wonderful place where everybody loves to go. And Tom, it's more than my husband Tom, who isn't here today because he has a virus. It seems that there's something going on there that goes far beyond, say, Cheers. I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of, even though these kids seem to be suffering, there's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of people who are coming in from different areas and coming in who haven't been in Lancaster for a while, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And actually, Hunger and Thirst isn't too far away from here. And it hasn't been open that long, but I think they're doing a great job.
What is different about it struck me almost immediately. I spent some years in my youth working in restaurants in a variety of positions, and it's typical that you'll find a staff where if they serve a dish to a customer and the customer says, "Those are home fries, I asked for scallop potatoes," and rather than apologize and take it back and get a change, they'll say, "Oh, the chef must have misheard me." They try to foist the blame on someone else.
Yeah.
I've never heard or seen anything like that at Hunger and Thirst. The staff there have each other's back. They truly care about each other, and in a whole staff, that is unusual.
Yes, it is. Yes,
And,
it is. Yes, it is.
I told the owners one day in there, I said, I have been looking for this place all my life, and I have found it. I'm very happy there.
And they love you. Oh my God. Everybody loves Herb.
Well, that's kind. I hope to live up to that.
Oh, you already have. You don't have to worry about that. So tell us about your other plays that you've written, and what do you plan to do with this one in particular? Are we gonna?
Well, I'm going to finish it. First
Yeah,
of all,
yeah.
I have Act 2 written, but it's in the revision stage right now.
Mhm.
This is a work in progress. Even Act 1, the part that you, as an audience, have heard, and it's constantly being shaped and made a little more dramatic, a little more intense.
Right.
Picking the right word, the right phrase, finding new facts that will totally change a paragraph or so in there. Those things will happen. In the play already, I made reference to the fact that this one girl had an ongoing pre-existing medical condition. Well, that's not a bar now. Now I have to reword the thing so that, yes, they have to accept a pre-existing condition. However, the rates go way up, and she felt in the new right she can afford it. So those are the things that will come out.
Yes, and we no longer have a black attorney general because he did something that he shouldn't have done, or whatever.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Those things will be changed. Yep.
But the point being is that, you have to. It's almost good to make it evergreen, these things, so that they don't. I mean, pretty soon Obama won't be president because he can't run for a third term.
Yep.
But nevertheless, having Obama be president is fine, because we all will remember that forever. It's been a good experience having him as president, that's for sure.
Well, most of my writing has been humor. And the first thing that I wrote was called The Geezer Game.
Right.
It's a bunch of retirees, all gentlemen, who, and all of Scottish historical background, all of their ancestors were Scots. And they all meet at a Scottish bar in town, grouse about all the bad things that happen when you're old, and then they find out their bar is going to become torn down to make way for a high-rise parking lot.
Oh my God.
This very much upsets them.
Yes.
So they all band together and they say, what are we going to do? Well, they know that in their town there is an annual touch football contest with various service clubs, Kiwanis, Elks, Rotarians, and so forth. They're going to get together as a group and play this touch football game, because if they win, they get $500. Well, $500 won't save the bar, but they're going to use that money to advertise and get the public's opinion changed so that this project won't go through.
Yes.
Well, what happens is they find out the team they're going to play are Irish, and they're all 20-year-olds.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
So you can imagine all the problems that these people of this age have getting in shape, learning the plays, finding out that none of them has ever played football of any sort in their life, not even intramural, not even pickup teams on a sand lot, nothing.
Oh my gosh.
So it has all kinds of comic possibilities.
And that's the Geezer Game.
That's the Geezer Game.
And that's the play that was actually already produced off Broadway.
That's correct. Yep. Its first production was in Michigan, and then the director of that said, "Why don't you enter this into a contest for an off-Broadway slot in New York City?" And I thought, "You're out of your mind." But she persisted, and I said, "Okay, I will." Send it in, and by golly, it was accepted.
Oh, that's great.
So it did play in New York, and that's to my credit, and I'm very happy and pleased about that, of course. Far more success than I would have imagined possible at this stage of the game.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Then I did another one. Again, you're always asked to write about what you know. So I wrote about an elderly gentleman whose wife dies, and well-meaning, good, kind neighborhood ladies bring him a casserole every day. Well, his friend, neighbor, male, divorced across the street, sees all this going on, and he thinks all these women have a sexual attraction to him. They don't, but that's what his fantasy life leads him to believe.
Right. So that's interesting.
So those are the kinds of conflict situations that happen in real life, and
what was the name of that one?
That one is called Casserole Casanova.
That's good. That's perfect. So did you dream these titles or what?
Yeah, I did. I thought for a while, well, let's see, what can we do with that? And that one day, having my second cup of breakfast coffee, it came to me, and I thought, that's it, write it down.
That's terrific.
But other than that, I have always wanted to write, and way back a dozen or more years ago, I did write a book, true story, World War II story about a combat group and bomber group in North Africa and Italy. This was the 376 Heavy Bombardment Group, and the title of that book is Bombardier's Diary. Now, to keep a diary was a military offense, because if the enemy got a copy of that, they would learn things about our ammunition supplies and how many planes we had and so forth. So all of the men who did that, and many men did that, would hide it in their material back at their base.
I see.
And then they'd fly their mission. So it was not on them in case they were shot down or something like that.
Okay.
Well, he came back from the service, worked for the government for a few more years in the postal department, and passed on when he was 60 years of age. My late wife and I were given the job of going into that home and getting all the things ready for auction and sale. And in the process, in a chest in the attic, we found the diary.
Oh, wow.
And he was a bookkeeper before going into the service, and all of his notations were very cryptic and short, very much like an accountant would. There was no descriptive flowing phrases at all. It was mission to Regensburg, 23,000 feet, 10 500-pound bombs, compass setting such and such, hit target such and such, heavy flak, returned home.
Wow. Yeah.
And those comments led both my wife and I to be curious enough to see, is there anyone left in that bomber group?
Yeah.
We found out that they had an annual reunion all over the country. So for 5 years, we both followed, went to those reunions, and talked to men in other planes at that same mission who were above, beside, below, in other positions while they were flying that same mission. And that's where we got the flavor of what it was really like.
Yes. That is bizarre. That's very creative how that all evolved.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of synchronicities and
yes,
and things falling into place mysteriously. That's like, whenever you set something in motion, amazing synchronicities, so-called coincidences, but they're not. They're not. That word indicates some sort of random thing, but it's really kind of like the flow of life happens, starts kicking off.
I've been fortunate in finding things that continue to interest me. And I would recommend that to anybody who is used to sitting at home and watching television all day,
Mhm.
or just sitting all day and doing not even that, just existing. Find something that interests you and get deeply involved in it. Find a cause. Find something that you can fight for. It,
Passion.
yeah, it
Yes.
keeps you alive and keeps you interested and keeps you active.
Right. Yeah, I think that coming out of then when you get involved in these kinds of pursuits, the pursuit of happiness, really, you get involved with other people, and that keeps you even more alive, and you look forward to those connections and all that wonderful communication. And this is what we all need to do, no matter what age we are, but especially when we get older. There's a lot of danger of especially depression, and people lose their will to live. And I do believe it's because of the bad beliefs, the false beliefs, I should say, of aging. People have not only do people have false beliefs about money, but boy, aging, ageism.
Mhm.
Um, People just need to broaden their minds and become engaged, as you said, engaged in life.
People tell me all the time, "How old did you say you are?" And I tell them, and they say, "You don't look that age." Many times I have to take out my driver's license and show them. See what it says right there,
Right.
1931.
Well, we should probably all strive to be ageless, and then we don't even have to
Yes,
tell
yes,
people our age anymore.
exactly.
I am
Mhm.
ageless. I don't
Yep.
need to even tell you my age.
Yep. And I want to see the day come when people say, "Well, what is your race?" The answer is human.
Yes, people probably don't ask that question, but when they do, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm a human being, not a human doer.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
I-
we've come to the top of the hour, I think, and we don't want to. I know how people's attention spans are limited, so well, we should do this again. We could do Act Two. We could do any number of your other plays. We'll get Tom in on it when he feels better, and show this one around and get people interested.
Thank you, Kate. It's been fun on this side.
We're both on the same side here. Thank you. Love to you all, everybody. Let me find the sun has just suddenly, woo, is now obstructing my ability to see the screen. Here. If a little closer. Oh, thank you.
There we go.
Goodbye.